Peter Dobson on the Fishbowl. Welcome.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me.
My pleasure, buddy. My pleasure to swim in the bowl with
you. I hope the temperature's just right.
Temperature? Did you mention the temperature?
The temperature's just right.
Yes. Feeling groovy, buddy.
Awesome. My first question for you is, what got you interested in film?
It was a combination of my mom and dad. They were both cinephiles. They were divorced, but they were both cinephiles. I grew up kind of with both of them. Growing up with my father, showing my age here, but every Sunday was drive-in to go to what they had drive-in movies back in New Jersey. A lot of drive-in summertime, and I remember the first impact. It was a film called The Wild Bunch. I remember it was a double feature with that. And of all films, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was their first movie, and then it was The Wild Bunch. That's the film, and that pretty much changed my life. And now, mind you, that movie came out in 1969. This was like 1974, 75, somewhere in there, where they did a re-release. So I was about 9 or 10, and that's when everything just changed for me, and got into the acting game and all of that stuff, and really wanted to get into filmmaking at some point in this long, crazy career of mine, and finally get a camera now. So I thank Sam Peckinpah for inspiring me to this insanity.
Awesome. That now the Wild Bunch is my dad is pretty much the guy who got me into like pretty much all the stuff I'm into, and when I was little, he made it like actually part of like my growing up regimen to learn about like the older movies and the history of cinema. And I was born in '88, and I like to think that
you're a baby. Go ahead.
Well, I guess that, but it's like the tail end of like when everything was just like great before the shitstorm that we're in now. And
for the most part.
And
although if I didn't go ahead, but I was just going to say there is something prior to our little pre-interview there where we're talking about Netflix. There's a great movie coming out, buddy. They did a remake of, and I'm not big fans of remakes, but it's All Quiet on the Western Front that I think comes out in November or something. It's from a 1930 classic, and I said, finally a great movie coming. So. Looks like one's coming out.
There has been some good stuff that's come out in the last couple of years. It's more on the indie side.
Yeah.
But the Wild Bunch is one of my all time favorite westerns.
Is that right?
I'm a big western guy. I think the movie that I have to say probably the two movies that did it for me. My first memory actually is at the age of like 3 years old, and I'm in a movie theater watching Back to the Future Part 3. And that I used to be able to like quote the entire Back to the Future trilogy like word for word. But the movie that really like the movie that said to me that this is what's out there, I need to see more. That was Total Recall.
Total Recall,
Schwarzenegger.
Not to be confused with the porno film called Total Rebel, which is my favorite porn title of all time. There's an actual porn movie out there, buddy, called Total Rebel.
Oh,
I always wanted to get the post. But yeah, man, Total Rebel, great movie. How can you? One of the best sci-fi movies ever.
Oh yeah,
totally agree with you.
I saw it when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Wow. And my dad just covered my eyes on the three-titted lady. But everything else was okay, for a 5-year-old to see. The extremely violent shootout on the escalator.
Yeah, man.
But I like to say if it wasn't for my dad letting me see that movie when I saw it, I would not be the extremely fucked up, creative individual that I am today.
Well, that's great. I mean, there's always one film that inspires everybody. Whether you're in this industry not. I always love to find out what someone's favorite film is. You know, it's funny, Sam. There's, you know, I don't know what this generation is referred to, but we have a whole new generation in Hollywood. A lot of this stuff, in-person auditions, has certainly changed. A lot of stuff is online now. A recent experience I had, I was up one of these Zoom things. This is why I hate Zoom, buddy. And I was talking to the cast director, and the scene, I said, hey, that's very reminiscent of Dog Day Afternoon. And she said, and I quote, oh, is that dog pound in downtown Los Angeles?
Oh, my God.
And I thought I kind of laughed, but she wasn't laughing. There was silence. I go, no, not a dog pound. I'm referring to a film with Al Pacino.
Right.
You know, after he did The Godfather, she had no idea what I was talking about. And that's when I realized that there's a whole new generation of casters and so forth, and an old me to them is like Dirty Dancing.
Right.
You know, our Total Recall. You know, I mean, that's nothing beyond that. The 70s, the 50s, forget the 40s. You know, that is the classic. They, you know, and they don't like anything really too much beyond that. And that's when I realized, Jesus Christ, either I'm getting too old for this shit, but I looked at it and I'm like, it's almost not like hearing about The Godfather. How do you not know about Dog Day Afternoon? But hey,
right.
That's the generation. Nothing on them. So I recommended to the cat. I go, you know, that's a film you should really see. I've heard of Al Pacino, which is like, of course. I'm like, well, then you should try to check out that film. I'm telling this to a casting.
That's insane.
So it's,
but it's interesting because I remember having the conversation. I mean, I'm 34, and
yeah.
I've had conversations through like past jobs that I've worked, and like you know the kids are maybe like, you know, 25, you know, something like that, and like they say, I'm like shocked. It's like I've like how this one a number of them have said it's like they won't watch movies that are made before the 80s, and anything that like, you know, like I remember when the Blade Runner sequel came out a couple years, and you know, Blade Runner to me is like my top favorite science fiction. And when I heard that they were making a sequel and that it was going to be like a true like sequel, I was excited. And then when I heard, I saw the running time of the sequel, and it was like almost a 3-hour movie. I was like, this is awesome. You know, I'm in, and everybody, this whole generation, you know, it's like they fell asleep during the movie. They can't, you know, sit still for anything that's not like a Marvel movie.
Right. Well, you know, we have the cell phone and TikTok and all of that to thank for that now. I mean, look, a lot of these TikTok and Instagram people, you know, all have agencies. These people get over 1 million views. Their CAA William Morris actually has a department where they handle these people for, you know, dancing with, you know, a duck.
Right.
You know, and they're making money. So, you know, the industry has certainly changed, but you know, there are some filmmakers out there that are, you know, that are still going, like Scorsese, God bless him, Clint Eastwood.
Right. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan.
I didn't see his last film. I loved the one, The Mule.
The Mule was great.
Yes, The Mule. But you know, they're you know, a lot of the younger filmmakers that I talk to. There's this guy named Chris Cranach who's out there in Europe right now. He's younger than you, believe it or not. He's only 22 years old, and this kid, buddy, is a cinephile. He knows everything. I'm a big film noir guy, so you know, we'll talk on a weekend and go over a lot of film noir and stuff. And his films are terrific. He really dug into the Kubrick school and all that. And you know, look, TikTok and all that stuff is one thing, but you know, filmmaking is a different business, buddy. And you know, to do it well does take some time to learn and you know, to absorb the older films, the older classics from John Ford and all that, only inspired David Lean, all these great filmmakers, to inspire a lot of these younger, the people, guys and gals of today. So kudos to them.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I actually have a little bit of movie trivia
Sure.
knowledge that I like to share as a collectible. It is a collectible now. It's also been referred to as the Holy Ark. Um, I'm located in Pittsburgh, which is aka the land of zombies, and
Yeah.
George Romero was one of my like top favorite horror directors
Uh-huh.
and directors of all
Mm-hmm.
time, and
Sure.
I happen to own his desk.
No kidding.
No kidding, and every screenplay I've ever written has been on that desk.
Where did you get his desk? Was it at an auction or something?
The summer before I was starting my screenwriting degree at Point Park here in Pittsburgh, my mom went to an estate sale that wasn't like very well publicized in the Pittsburgh paper, and it happened to be like George Romero's ex-wife who was like selling off a bunch of his stuff. So I got his desk. I got like three original screenplays of his, some action figures, and some posters.
You gotta have your actions.
Don't get me started. I'm a big nerd in that way. I honestly like I'm probably sitting on.
You got your lightsabers on your wall too?
Well, talking about back to Schwarzenegger again. Ever since
Yes.
I saw
By the way,
Total
that's great.
Recall, I'm like
Cool.
obsessed with the guy.
That's so cool. That inspires you to write on George Romero's desk.
I
That's
actually have
that's awesome.
I have a zombie screenplay that I'm still developing, but there's a version of it that's published on Amazon as an ebook that I won
That
from
you wrote?
I wrote, and
Awesome.
I wrote it on his desk, and it
What's the
like
book called?
it's called Grr exclamate like G four
Yeah,
R's
like her. Okay, got it.
exclamation point a zombie love story.
Well, congrats. Is that a book that anyone can get on Amazon?
Yeah, yeah. It's an
Well,
ebook,
buddy,
and
after this
anybody
interview,
can
I'm
buy
gonna
it.
order it.
Also, I have another one that's based on an Ambrose Bierce short story called The Stranger, and
Also on Amazon.
also on Amazon. Yep.
Wow, that's impressive, buddy. So you got two.
Yeah, and I wrote both those scripts on his desk. And
Great.
the you know
That's great.
and I like everything I've ever written, like is it's a lot of it is like now award-winning stuff. Like I have a Coverfly account that is like just full of like quarterfinalists, semifinalists, finalist stuff.
Congrats, man.
Thank you,
The horror,
thank you.
the horror sci-fi is definitely your. That's where your heart's at, huh?
Well, it's interesting because while I definitely write like horror sci-fi, it's because like all my interests come from like the days of like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and like the Clint Eastwood, and like it's really like a fusion of all these different genres kind of like mixed into one. And
Wow.
the script that I have that's doing really well for me right now, and it's called Hellraiser, and the
Not to be confused with Hellraiser.
right,
Right.
um,
Okay.
and the log line for it is criminal lovers clash with demon greaser with thugs and
Stop.
demon greaser twins on a haunted highway.
That's great. Demon Greasers. Love it.
And it's like very it's like inspired by like a lot of true romance, natural born killers,
Love it.
and like some horror movies like Highway to Hell, which came
Sure.
out in like
Sure.
the
Great movie.
90s, 80s or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that film well. Sure.
Yeah, like if I had my way, because like the original title I wanted to use for it was Hell on Wheels, but there was already that TV series. But at the end of Highway to Hell, there's where they summarize like what happened after like the movie was over, and
Mm-hmm.
the couple, the boy, who was the protagonist of the story, he ended up making like a video game based on their experience. There was like two follow ups, and one of them was called Hell on Wheels. So I wanted to make it like initially, like originally, like the unofficial like sequel to Highway to Hell. Um,
Wow.
but
Love it.
I figure that that's like an obscure movie like now, so it'd probably be a little hard to get the rights in it. But it's a
Well,
lot
the
of
horror genre is a good genre. I mean, you come across Netflix, you got to blast through a bunch of these lower budget ones, but every now and then you come across a really good one. I love the whole notion of having demon greasers. I like that, like a bunch of Fonzarellis, but with
yeah.
zombies.
Okay,
Love
like
a
it was
Fonzarelli.
a lot of it was inspired by what was it? Sometimes They Come Back,
Uh huh.
the Stephen King movie, where it was
Listen,
like
hey man, sorry to disappoint you. I never saw that film.
okay, and it was a TV movie in the '90s, and it was like these
Wow, that one got by me,
greasers.
but that
Anyways,
got by me.
yeah, but yeah, it hasn't been done in a long time, so
Uh huh. That's
we'll
cool, man.
we'll see. uh,
Awesome, buddy.
but I mean, a movie that like I actually grew up quoting a lot, and I'm sure everybody did, that you are in is Forrest Gump.
Yes, that's you know, the whole my whole affiliation with Robert Zemeckis and that whole crew was there was a show they did back in the early '90s, a TV show. It was a 1 hour comedy called Johnny Bago. That was originally written for John Travolta. Long story short, he turned it down. They was cast and directed in Victoria Rose. Talked Bob and seen someone a little bit younger, and I do all these tests and so forth. Finally got it. It was a blast to do. And Robert Zemeckis, Peter Seaman, and Jeffrey Price and Frank Marshall. And between these guys, they did Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Raiders of
Right.
the Lost Ark. So it was this crew of producers and directors that were, for any young actor, the holy grail. And it was a comedy on top of that. And the premise of the show was this guy on the lam who hijacks a Winnebago to get away from the mob. And every episode, he was like in a new state. And one of the episodes, he was in South Dakota or something. And he's out there taking pictures and hears something, and he turns his camera, and the camera goes off. And he goes back to the trailer, pulls out the big Polaroid thing. And as it develops, that very famous Bigfoot picture of him walking in the woods?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, it's the same pose, so he thinks he has Bigfoot, but as it blows up even bigger, it turns out the thing has glasses on. He's like, wait, what? And it turns out it's Elvis Presley living up there, living in a trailer park. And so, hiding in this trailer park. And so my character basically gets together with Elvis, who's in retirement, and wants him to be Elvis again. And it was this very silly, funny episode we did. The show went on for 9 or 10 episodes. It was a huge hit, and Zemeckis wanted to finally take the show out of Los Angeles and really go and shoot him in real states. He wanted to be in Miami. He wanted to shoot it in Miami. And the network said, no, we want to keep everything here in Los Angeles. And Bob said, no, we can't just keep using the same locations over and over. Let's get it on the road. So they said no, and Bob said HBO. And then he got sidetracked. I was out of work, and about almost a year passed. The office called me, and it was him. And he goes, "Hey, Dobson, hey, I'm working on this film called Forrest Gump. We have a role of Elvis. Would you like to do it?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm unemployed now, sure." and that little scene in that movie, that's how I did the Elvis cameo in Forrest Gump.
That's awesome. And you've done like 3 different projects where
Yeah. There was a film I made like in 2009 called Protecting the King. Not many people were aware that Elvis Presley had 2 stepbrothers when his father got remarried in 1960 to a woman named Dee Stanley, who Elvis was not happy about his dad getting remarried. Obviously, Elvis was a mama's boy and loved his mother, and disapproved of that man, was not happy about it. But he did kind of surrender to having brothers. And Protecting the King is about David, who Elvis put through karate school and all that stuff, and ultimately became part of the Memphis Mafia. He was only 17 years old, and it's a wonderful film, all told through the eyes of a very young David Stanley, from like 1972 to the time of his death.
That's awesome.
And and then there's some silly things like Andrew Dice Clay had a show. But I don't want to start turning into a Vegas act, but I could turn down Dice because he's a buddy of mine, and we did an Elvis parody on that on a show, called Dice. But most notably, obviously Forrest Gump, and a film that they just re-released it due to the big movie that's out now, which I don't know if you saw, called Elvis.
Yeah.
And I remember when they were casting. I was wishing I was 23 again, But I know when I was keeping tabs of it, and then when no one knew who Austin Butler was, I sure was a huge fan of his when I saw him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I was with a buddy of mine, and I said, this guy's going to have a career. This guy's great. I mean, that's the, outside of Brad Pitt and DiCaprio, that cameo that when he played Tex, I'm like, this guy's got something. He's really good. And so when he got Elvis, I was like, that's going to be interesting. Good choice. And then I wound up seeing the film like everybody else. I have my opinions of it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. But the movie for me, the director's name. What's his name? The guy Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
You know what to expect. I knew it was going to be a bigger than life movie. I was hoping to more of the traditional story of Elvis, but I got what he was doing because it's Baz Luhrmann. But man, by the time they got into the 60s and the 68 comeback special, where the montages kind of slowed down finally, the movie kind of settled in. But I thought he did a phenomenal Austin Butler. I really did. I thought he was wonderful, man.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his performance. There's a few people, there's a few actors that like I'll see him in something and just like I'll know just from that one movie that like they're destined for great things. There was a movie that came out like right around the time I was in high school, and it was called The Girl Next Door, and it was one of those like coming of age kind of like teenage romantic comedy type movies. But there were three friends that were the friends in the movie, and all three of them are like really artistic actors now. One of them the star was Emile Hirsch, and the other one of his friends was Paul Dano.
The Girl Next Door. I remember this movie. Yeah, I remember. Yes, and that blonde.
Eliza.
Cuthbert.
Yeah.
I remember.
I just remember seeing that movie, and the three.
That's a good movie.
It was a great movie.
Yeah,
and the three friends. Like I just remember Emile Hirsch. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he is one of like he's like on like De Niro level,
wonderful
type wonderful acting, and so is Paul Dano.
Wonderful acting. Yeah.
They're great. And then he's obviously older now, but is actually someone you got to work with that I've been following since I was a little kid. And I think he is one of the most underrated
I agree, buddy.
Actors, and that's Sam Rockwell.
Well, Sam Rockwell, I mean, he beats to his own drum, man. I've been around so long, buddy. I've got two people's first films that they were one of my first films was Last Exit to Brooklyn, and with a very young Sam Rockwell, who was literally just fresh off the out of acting class.
Right.
And played one of the gang members in that film. And boy, to watch his career over the years develop to what it is now is great. And he kind of beats to his own drum. You'll see him in these big, particularly a few years back when he was doing like the Charlie's Angel movie, playing the villain. Then a couple of years ago, it was a three billboards in Missouri where he actually won the Academy Award for some
Yeah. I think just like everything that he does, it's like he's in the moment.
He's versatile.
He's versatile, and he's in the moment in every single scene that you see him in.
Yeah. Well, we've got our sights on him. I developed a film called Asbury Park. It's not about Bruce Springsteen. It's about the early, late 60s and early 70s in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And there's a role that we'd be so lucky to get him. But I do have him in mind for one of the roles. Because the thing about Sam is that, like I said, he does bigger budget, but if he likes the material and, you know, maybe has a little bit of a nostalgic thing, because I was in his first film with him.
Right.
maybe we'll get lucky. The other actor, first film from TV, from a TV show he was known, but his first film was Will Smith in a film called Where the Day Came. That the very first movie he did was We Did Together, where he played a homeless guy with no legs. For all the controversy going on now, I won't get into that. But
right.
I just remember my first day working with. We all knew who he was because obviously the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But I had to beat the shit out of him. I had to literally kick him off his wheelchair. This was our first day of work, and he played a homeless guy, and I played some bully. And he played it's actually a very good. He's wonderful, and you know, we shook hands and met and all that. And then, you know, an hour later, after they strapped him in the wheelchair, I had to kick this guy, I don't know, 15, maybe even 20 times over and over again. So that's the memory I have of Will Smith. I'm not going to get a lot of controversy in that, but I think he's an amazing actor as well. I really do. And going back to Sam Rockwell, that film that's coming out, actually it looks like a whodunit or something.
Yeah. It reminds me of that play, The Mousetrap.
Exactly. Or Clue, you know, one of those.
Yeah,
things.
Clue. Yeah.
Yes, and Mousetrap. I'm surprised you know about Melody, but it was called Clue, right? He's got that coming out. I know he was, and of course he loves, you know, he's the real deal. He's a stage actor. David Mamet and him had a nice run from what I was reading about, called American Buffalo, which is a film that a play that I saw in New York back in the day. with an actor named, his name was James Hayden, who died. He was going to be a big star from that. They put him in a film called Once Upon a Time in America.
Yes, and that's where I know that name from. It sounded very familiar.
I hope I'm getting the play right. It was either American Buffalo or Hurly Burly. I'm pretty sure it was American Buffalo that he did with Pacino. I'm almost positive. It was so long ago. But he had this giant career, and he died after his first film. Once Upon a Time in America, he died, I think, of a drug overdose or something. So that's just more trivia for you. But Sam Rockwell just recently did that on Broadway. You don't hear about many actors this day and age doing Broadway.
Right.
But Sam's one of them. He's the real deal, a tremendous actor. And it's funny, he's not the household name that, you know, you always have to mention him, but he's in it for the long haul as well. You know what I mean?
Right. One of the movies that I really think he steals the show, and it's so subtly, is Galaxy Quest.
I knew you were going to say that, yes. Great. That was like that Star Trek spoof, right?
Right. With Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub, Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman.
Yes, sir.
It's an all-star cast, and
yes,
everybody is great in it. But especially the people, whoever coordinated like how the aliens were supposed to like walk and communicate and everything is hysterical. But like Sam Rockwell just very subtly like just steals the show.
That's what he does. He's a scene chewer. He's wonderful, man. Yes, I totally. And here we are. I mean, look, talking about Sam. I mean, like I said, he's in it for the long haul. A lot of actors I worked with over the years that are gone, retired, or whatever. But I think Sam may have had one line in Last Exit. I know he laughs in, but boy, we got along. We certainly loved making that movie. We were all big fans of a show called East Side Comedy, which is probably even before your time, which was a big show back east, a TV show from the. Actually, it was in the movies, but they were like these half-hour shorts, and it was called The Bowery, later known as East Side Comedy. Does that ring a bell to you?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, when we got together to do rehearsal, that's what we said, hey, we're kind of like the East Side Comedy guys, except we have switchblades. You know, More like the Dead End Kid. Both on before that, which was the same group of fellas. But and then from that, and then he just kept going on and on and on, and right up till which I thought he was brilliant in was the Billboard, where he played that fucked up deputy.
Right.
God, was he?
And let's not forget Jennifer Jason Leigh. I mean, like
can't forget her either.
She again, we were talking about this on the phone call earlier, that she is another totally like underappreciated.
Yeah. And she was underappreciated. If that film had come out now, I think it would be looked at completely different. But it came out in 1989 or 90, and they were having scenes of it, and they were presenting it like people were about to go see Grease.
Right.
Because it was the 50th, and I went to one of the screenings, and there was families there. People were bringing their kids. And the director, who was Uli Idol, brilliant director. She gets gang raped. So by the theater was pretty empty, and he said that's exactly the reaction I expected. And the film, which was a little under the radar in America, exploded in Europe, and rightfully so. She got every whatever the Academy Awards in England and France, Germany, because for me that is a performance of a lifetime. What she did in that film, just absolutely exceptional. And for me, that working on that film was probably the most educational experiences I ever had as a filmmaker. Remind you, Scorsese wanted to make that movie, but whatever happened, he got involved with Goodfellas, so they swooped up the rights again. It was a German company, which was great because they really stayed as true to the book as they possibly could. And now it's like most of my movies, buddy. I think I'm like, all the shit that I've done gets discovered years later. People's like, oh, you were in that movie. I'm like, yeah. And when it came out, no one saw it, but now it's got a cult following, and that's wonderful, and all of that. And but yeah, man, I'm with you, Jennifer Jason Leigh. One of the greats still out there. It's been a while since I've seen her.
The last big thing I saw her in was The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight.
And thank God for Quentin Tarantino for like resurrecting all these people's careers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, that was a hell of an experience. Making that film. It get a big act. I mean, it practically got an X rating.
Yeah.
Even then.
Right. Right.
But Uli Idol, the way they filmed it, the way they approached it, he decided to take no prisoners. He didn't want to shy away from the book at all, and that's exactly what he did. And that took a German mentality. As a matter of fact, we because it was a German movie from Bavaria Studios, we had to by rules in Europe that something had to be shot in Germany. So we shot one scene in Germany, and they flew us out there to Berlin. And I'm sorry, not Berlin, Munich. And I got to visit Bavaria Studios, and outside of The Wild Bunch, my other favorite film was a film called Das Boot, which we just lost the great Wolfgang Petersen. But buddy, I got to go visit the sub that was still on the lot at Bavaria Studios where they shot, and I got to have a little tour of that submarine that he shot on, which was they literally reconstructed a real submarine. Everything in that submarine was authentic. Not one thing was fake in Das Boot.
That's pretty cool.
So that was a big thrill for me, going out there and getting to walk into that submarine. And of course, working with Uli Idol was that's what inspired me. Really opened my eyes on what filmmaking is really about. It's a savagely beautiful, and with a great score from Mark Knopfler. Instead of I thought they'd be using a lot of early '50s music, but they went for kind of more of a strings. And Mark Knopfler is a conductor, a brilliant musician, but he's also he's a conductor, and he scored that entire film beautifully.
Absolutely. I mean, I follow like all different sorts of people that do different things in the film industry. That it's like I see movies and I see that a lot of names, and I follow the names obviously. And I'm a big fan composers. I'm a big fan of editors also.
Well, I said conduct, by the way. I meant compose, conduct. I'm like, that's not such. He didn't hold the stick. Forgive me. I said conductor like 3 times. I meant composer for the record, not conductor. Like Bugs Bunny with a stick.
Right.
No, he composed. But
and that's why we pre-record.
I think John Williams just retired, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think I heard that too.
I just read that recently.
Yeah.
The best of the best.
Yeah.
He was the best of the best. And of course, I still think the best score. Two movies, both by Dave, have both of my favorite scores. One, Lawrence of Arabia, and the other, Bridge on the River Kwai. I think are the best scored movies I've to this day. Did you ever see Bridge on the River Kwai?
I have, yeah.
Oh boy, that score, buddy.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that's it.
I'm a big Alan Silvestri guy.
Oh, he's brilliant.
I mean, some of the most iconic scores that for movies that that are more, I guess.
Well, what movie didn't? Well, kind of like did Silvestri, was he the composer on Lawrence of Arabia?
No.
I'm talking about my favorite score, but who composed those films? That I don't know.
I'm not sure who did that. Silvestri, I think, came more around in the 80s.
70s?
70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Because he did like Back to the Future. He's done a lot.
I thought Huey Lewis in the News did Back to the I'm kidding. Yes, you're right. He did do that.
Which is one of the most iconic scores.
Beautifully, a great score, by the way.
Yeah, very iconic. But John Williams was great. I'm also a big Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, Miami Vice, buddy.
Yeah.
His TV show of all time.
Right.
That guy, by the way, was one of my first. In fact, right before I did Last Exit to Brooklyn, or maybe 2 years before, the very first thing I did was that I got to play the villain. The real Holy Grail in those days was playing the villain on Miami Vice, which I finally got to do in its final.
Right.
And working with those two guys, and because they were gods. And yes, man, that score for Miami Vice. You got to remember, buddy, back in those days, Miami Vice, particularly the first 2 or 3 seasons, when it premiered in 84, 85, 86, those 3 seasons, I mean, you would not leave your home. And then remember, it came on at 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Right.
And nobody would leave their house or go out on that fucking show. That's how big it was. Because Michael Mann, a lot of people, he directed some of the episodes. He never did. He didn't direct one of those episodes, but he was very hands-on in the beginning. You could tell it had his touches all over them.
Right.
He was involved in the editing. He was very, very hands-on in the beginning. That was all him. Ironically, he never directed any of the shows per se. But yeah, Hans Zimmer, and I think Hans Zimmer do Manhunter as well?
I think he did too.
I believe he did. Michael Mann used him all the time. He used him in Thief, Manhunter. I believe he did. Yeah.
And on the topic of Manhunter, I've had Tom Noonan on my show before.
That's right. Sorry, man. I think that's as far as I'm concerned. People say Silence of the Lambs. Great movie. Nothing wrong with it. But I'm a Manhunter guy. And don't forget Stephen Lang, who I worked with on Last Exit.
Right.
He's the guy that Tom Noonan tied up and burned alive in the chair.
Right.
That's Stephen Lang. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Stephen Lang fan. He is he's a great character actor.
He sure is, Pat.
Yeah.
And they dug him up again. That Avatar's coming out, but
right.
I don't know. Were they using his ghost? I'm like, well, it's a sci-fi movie. We can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, I heard they wrote. I don't think it's his ghost. He must have survived somehow or something. But they're bringing him back. That's all I know.
Oh yeah, he's definitely in it. I know he's in it. And I love that. Speaking of horror films, before we played that the blind guy, those people break into his house and killing everybody. That was a great movie.
Yeah. That
was another good one. Yeah, man. Look, man. I look back, very fortunate. Yeah, you talked about Back to the Future. I got to work with Michael and Bob Zemeckis again on Peter Jackson's first American film was The Frighteners.
Yes, and that is one of my favorite roles with you.
And that Bob made the recommendation, but I had to fight for that role. They had a, that was kind of very loosely based on Biff from Back to the Future,
right,
especially in the script. And it was funny because when we were out there making the movie, John Astin, who plays the sheriff, Michael kept calling him Doc over and over again. If you ever watch the special features, he's always going, Doc, Doc. Oh, goddamn, wrong movie. And
I own the director's cut of that.
Well, Zemeckis, he had the eye, and Zemeckis, not only a comedy, Zemeckis is a huge horror fan. I was fortunate in my earlier, I got to work with Zemeckis a lot. He did, that was his show, was Tales of the Crypt, that he produced with Joel Silver. So I did an episode on that. And then when it came time to the Frighteners, he made this recommendation to a very young Peter Jackson. And that was a hell of an experience. Got to go out there to New Zealand. I have a real fear of flying, so that was memorable. But the guy who sat next to me was none other than Arlie Remy from Full Metal Jacket. We flew out together. But the first time I met him, and then we hit turbulence, and I was like, he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, he used to have shrapnel shot up my ass. Nothing. You got nothing afraid of. and I felt, and then on the way back, I'm like, can I fly back with Arlie? But, again, there's a movie, this wonderful kind of comedy, and then it gets pretty goddamn intense as well. They had a release, which would have been perfect for Halloween, but Universal got very excited about it and decided to up the release for a summertime film, and they put it up against a little movie called Independence Day.
Oh, man.
And it got killed at the box office. Got killed. No one saw it.
Right.
And until it got into DVD and what they call it, Laserdisc. And then that movie got delivered 7 or 8 years later on video and on cable. And now it's a cult movie from Peter. And it's it's like Michael's last film.
Yeah, it was his last film.
He went from that. I remember I asked him what was coming up for him. He goes, I'm jumping back in and he jumped into Spin City right after that.
Right.
So, and then of course with the Parkinson's and all that, and he's a big spokesman for that, but again, I look back on all these wonderful actors that I got to, be in their presence, like Michael and Hilary Swank, which is a movie I don't recommend, called Quiet Days in Hollywood. But I knew she was going to be a huge star too. The minute I worked with her, I said,
definitely,
she's on her way. 2 years later, she got the Academy Award for the Boys Don't Cry.
Right.
So it's been a long journey, buddy. But I'm still here, man. Still here, man.
And I'm still a fan. I'm so happy that we're able to talk, and that I love to keep in touch after this. I have.
Oh, you coming in?
Yeah. And I have a long list of movies, and which I don't think we'll probably get to this round. But right. it saves it for round 2.
Yeah, buddy. An hour's gone by.
Yeah,
fast.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a long interview. We're just shooting shit. We're like, oh my
God.
Right.
See, when I say 45 minutes to an hour, it flies by. It really flies by. Yeah. Well, let me ask my 2 closer questions for you.
Absolutely.
And that is, what are some of your favorite films? And then the biggie.
We'll cover that one, but go ahead.
The biggie. What other upcoming projects do you have to remember?
Well, the favorite lead question would be, one of them already, The Wild Bunch. It's such a hard, I have so many, top 5. It's just so hard. Would you say my top 2?
Whatever your favorite movies are, doesn't just in general, or
I'll throw 5 at you. I'll stand out to me. All right, so we'll go The Wild Bunch. I'll go Bridge on the River Kwai. I'm going to go with a Bogart movie called High Sierra, which I just love, with him and Ida Lupino. Oh boy, I love American for certain reasons, because it was another movie that inspired me and Guy too. So I always put American Graffiti in that mix. Remember, that was before George Lucas, years before George Lucas even made Star Wars.
Right. Well, let's not forget THX 1138.
Exactly. That he did what he made. He actually made that before American Graffiti.
Yeah, that was his college project.
His college project. Yeah, man. Oh my God, buddy, there's so many. I'm gonna throw in Bullet, buddy. I just
movie.
watched Bullet the other night.
Great movie.
I just gotta throw in Bullet because I fucking love this movie. I love every goddamn second of it. Right from the opening title, Yates, I actually was inspired by. I just did a promo sizzle for a film that we're working on, and I said I got to use those titles where you see the name of it, and then the titles actually become transparent, and it goes into, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The movie was so revolutionary. You're looking at San Francisco when it was cool.
The first movie.
San Francisco today, he'd be driving over homeless people.
Right. And talk about the first movie to utilize a chase scene on the famous I forget the street name, but it's the big hills of San Francisco, and talk about The Rock.
That was all through Knob Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, buddy, and Steve McQueen did 85% of the driving. That's why the movie works.
And the same with The Great Escape. He did pretty much all the motorcycle stunts.
All the motorcycles. Now, mind you, that was not him who did the jump. A lot of people say different. Was it him? No, I take that back. He did do the jump. The studio didn't want to do the jump.
Right.
And then he threatened to walk off the movie if he didn't do it.
Right.
When men were men, buddy. And so the studio said, "All right, just don't break your legs." I mean, yeah, everything about Bullet, I just love, and naturally the car chase is one for the books. And remember, the guy that he was chasing, he worked a lot as well. That guy was a professional. The guy who played the bad guy that he was chasing was a real. That guy, he coordinated that whole shit. His name's surpassing me right now, but he also. The guy that he chased also designed the car chase in French Connection.
Yeah.
That he coordinated that. And I'll tell you, here's a little trivia for you, buddy. One of the most underrated car chases of all time, outside of, and this is not, we can't say French Connection's underrated because that's classic.
Right.
But William Friedkin made a movie called To Live and Die in L.A.
Yes.
And that fucking car, buddy. That fucking car chase in that fucking movie on the 10 freeway, all done practical. There's no special.
Right.
That's all practical.
Right.
I think it's one of the best car chases I've ever seen. William Friedkin topped himself.
I remember when I saw that movie for the first time, like it was on one of the movie channels, and I saw Willem Dafoe, and talk about how young he is in that movie, and how how he was born to play a villain.
Absolutely. Streets of Fire, remember?
Yeah,
he was in all those movies. The Loveless, talking about a greaser movie where he plays a
right.
Which is basically his character from Streets of Fire.
Right.
But yeah, man. I mean, To Live and Die, Friedkin set out to top himself from French Connection, and he did. I think it's probably the best car chase ever. And then the other underrated one would be Roy Scheider and the 7-Ups.
Yeah.
Another great car chase.
Yeah.
And that was also coordinated by the same guy who did Bullet. Whose name is escaping me. But yeah, man, there you have it. Cinema. Thank God we have these films to watch and enjoy. Every time, we're not too far from where I live. I got Tarantino's theater down on Beverly Boulevard, which was formerly known as the New Art. So Tarantino's got a revival theater where they play all the classics, pretty much go through all the time. And I had a place here that they closed down because of fucking COVID, which was called Amoeba Music. And the upstairs, but it was the size of a football field, and they had every film ever made up there. If it was made, they had it. They fucking had it. So I would go there every Sunday. I have such a film collection. I've run out of space in my house, so I have a storage locker that I got to put the rest of them in because those were my Sundays. Now, of course, everything's online, but see, the thing that I miss about this place is that you could go online, but you have to think when you're not holding films sometimes you have to see something and go, oh yeah, what about that? Oh yeah, what about that?
Right.
And now I hear a rumor that this place might be coming back, which I hope is true. So hopefully they reopen that place. I mean, I just live for movies. And I'll just close out by saying this. The other question is, yes, I got a film that we're very close to finally getting made once again, called Asbury Park. Very much like The Outsiders and American Graffiti. It's about the circuit in Asbury Park, New Jersey in the early 70s. Not about Bruce Springsteen. The reason Bruce Springsteen is affiliated with Asbury Park, he was from Freehold, but there was and if you look at it, if you listen to his earlier work, which is always about cars, because Asbury Park had the circuit, and they had car races up and down Ocean Avenue mixed in with the music. And it was this incredible scene, all these kids fresh out of vocational school, which this story focuses on. And it's reminiscent of The Outsiders. But these kids back then, they all wanted to be either race car drivers or work in pit crews for like A.J. Foyt, which was an old time, or Richard Petty, which were like their heroes back in those days. And then, of course, the other group of kids are these struggling musicians. Asbury Park was still is, but in those days it was a big musical town. And every musician wanted to be the next Rolling Stones. Of course, Springsteen made it. You got groups like Asbury, Southside Johnny, Asbury Jukes, and all of that. But you mix all that in with the cars, and I thought that would be a great visual spectacle since I'm from that area and I grew up with that very vividly. And then the second film I just completed as an actor. I haven't acted in a long time, buddy. Got to go out to Thailand and do a World War II film called 3 Days, which is about the first 3 days in Guadalcanal, which they thought was going to be a quick battle. Just go there and take Henderson Airfield and be done with it. Little did they know that the Japs basically lured them in, and that battle, like all of the South, were brutal.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Guadalcanal lasted almost a year. How many people realize how long that battle lasted? And the reason it's called 3 days because that's how long they thought it was going to take. And the character that I play, but loosely based on another sergeant, I should say a field artillery sergeant who really knew the area, said, no, this is a trap. It's a trap. Ignored him. Of course, he turned out to be right. And then, of course, all hell breaks. And wonderfully directed by a very talented actor as well, who also acts, Louis Mandler.
Oh, yeah.
In the film. And he plays a guy named John Caputo, who's based on a real-life guy who was a boxer in the Marines. He accidentally killed this guy in a fight. And very long story short, the Marines threw him out. The war was really kicking in, so he re-enlisted into the Army and went into the Army and wound up in Guadalcanal with my character. And they're kind of both these reject guys, but they are very, very, these guys were warriors. The Pacific, as brutal as the was, and it was, Battle of the Bulge and D-Day and everything else in between, Sicily, North Africa, as horrible as those campaigns were, the South Pacific was even worse. If anyone can try to imagine going from island to, it was every other week was like a new D-Day.
Right.
Either they would storm the beaches and get mowed down, or they get lured in. And of course, be trapped on these islands for weeks at a time without any reinforcements, with the stench of death everywhere. I mean, these Marines and these Army guys, there was a real hate between them and the Japanese. It was like fighting ISIS to these guys. I mean, it was savage.
Right.
The Pacific Theater, and this film beautifully taps into the absolute horror of war. And, a lot of it got into some hand-to-hand combat and so forth. And Louis, who's a wonderful director, they hand him the reins to this film. And I think he's made his little masterpiece. I was honored to be part of this film. I've always wanted to do a World War II movie. So working with Louis was the cherry on the cream, because I've been friends with Louis for a very long time. And he made a recommend to the producers. They're like you. They're like, oh, that guy from the Frighteners, he's still alive? But he fought like hell to get, and they agreed to let me to do that role in this film. Also with a guy named two UFC guys, Cowboy Cerrone and a guy named Rampage. And I'll tell you something, buddy. Louis got performances out of these guys like Marlon Brando. These guys are fucking wonderful in this film. As actors, naturally, these guys are UFC legends, but he got performances that I think are going to surprise their fans.
Awesome. Very cool.
So that's what's on the plate, buddy.
Very cool. Very cool. I am extremely excited to check that movie. I mean, me and my dad, like, we love war movies, especially World War II. I mean, because I'm actually Jewish, so you know.
You got a lot of material to work with.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
But of course,
at the top end of this conversation, I was saying, well, then there is a big movie coming out about World War I, called All Quiet on the Western Front. Did you ever see a film called Paths of Glory from Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah, of course, yes.
So a little reminiscent of that. I know a few years back was a great movie called 1917,
right?
Which was all done like it was one take. But this movie that's coming out looks absolutely fucking fantastic. And there's a great underrated German movie. I think it's called The Final Battle that I just saw a few ago. That's on Netflix. It's about the Germans, but it's about a certain couple of individuals that fought in the German army based on this crazy battle, like out in Holland on an island. So if you're a war buff, buddy, it's called The Final Battle, or I think it's called The Final Battle. I hope I'm getting the name right. That is fucking magnificent.
Awesome. I will definitely have to check that out. I also really liked Mel Gibson's last movie.
Oh, God. Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge.
Absolutely. You know my one question about that movie was, so they're climbing up the nets and all. Why did the Japs cut the nets?
Right.
But then I realized, because it's all based on a true story,
right.
The real life thing was much because the Japs, as they did back then, wanted to lure them in.
Right.
They wanted to again. The Japanese and the Americans. This thing got personal. They fucking despised it. If you read about this stuff, the hatred between the Japanese and the American, there was no love lost between them. Hacksaw Ridge displays that beautifully.
Right.
And speaking of Mel Gibson, there's rumors. I've been reading about it too, so it's not just rumors, that there's a possibility that Gibson is going to remake The Wild Bunch, leave alone. But if there's one director that could pull it off, it would be Mel Gibson.
I agree with you 110%.
Right?
If there's one person who can do it, let it be him. Let it be him.
Absolutely.
Gibson's had his ups and downs, but
everybody has, buddy.
Everybody has, exactly.
Get into the cancel
exactly,
culture and all that nonsense.
I mean,
you know what? I mean, he's if they take half the stuff I said 20 years ago, I'd be living in Peru now.
But when it comes down to it, like talking about car chases, Mad Max, The Road Warrior.
Oh, God. We're also talking about great filmmakers of today. Obviously, Mel Gibson stands as one of the most prolific film directors of the 21st century, and believe me, he still has more. He still has more in him.
Right.
I cannot wait till he does another movie. But yes, Mad Max, obviously, which was the director.
George Miller. George Miller.
Thank you, George Miller. And George Miller and Mel Gibson were tight as drums, and that's what inspired Mel Gibson to make it was George Miller.
Right.
And look at the film. Look at the director that Mel Gibson did, Apocalypto.
Exactly.
Look at that movie.
Braveheart.
Through the Jungle. Braveheart.
Talking about how because of Braveheart redefined the entire movie genre on how to do epic medieval ancient history battles.
Yes.
I mean, as much as I love Gladiator, you would not have Gladiator if you did not have Braveheart.
Braveheart first, particularly with the battle scenes. I couldn't agree. That's a great comparison. Yes, and don't forget, Mel Gibson's got a scene in Passion of the Christ coming out.
Yeah,
apparently.
Yeah, I heard that.
He's going to piss off Hollywood all over again. Remember, no one wanted to touch the Passion of the Christ. I mean, they were interested at first, but then he went in. But he was insistent that they speak that. I forgot what the dialect is. The dialect.
like was it Aramaic or?
Aramaic, yes, sir. You
Yeah.
nailed it. And he stuck to his guns. And everyone said, we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. On top of it, they're not going to speak English in it. So Mel Gibson digs into his own pockets. And as you know, this cliche really stands on its own. And the rest is history. Remember, he financed that. So therefore, when that movie made almost $1 billion, guess who cleaned up on that one? Mel Gibson did.
Right.
Left us all the way to the bank. He allowed that one, and he's more hating. You know, I mean, some people call it anti-Semitic. I mean, I don't know what your view on it is, but you know, no matter. You look at this guy as a film director,
right?
And then you'll see him like on some Netflix movie that he made for like $3 million budget, some weird comedy.
Or like how he played Santa Claus in that movie.
Exactly. Like, what's that all about? But, you know, but that's the way he rolls, man.
Right.
He's so eccentric and so brilliant. But as a film director, buddy, yes, and an actor, I cannot wait to know whether it's The Wild Bunch or whatever it may be. I certainly look forward to Mel Gibson's film. No doubt about it.
There's a movie he did like maybe a year or 2, 3 years ago now. I caught it on the movie channels, and it was so fucking good. It was him and Vince Vaughn, and the movie was called Knocked Against Concrete.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. Would you recommend it?
It was the director that did Bone Tomahawk.
Yes.
What was it? Brawl and what was the movie?
I'm only saying because now I'm familiar with that. Not the director. Go ahead. I just never got around to seeing it. But you recommend that movie? And you're thinking of the
definitely. Director? It's so good.
Remember Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn in Hacksaw Ridge in the beginning. Remember?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like a corrupt. It speaks on the times.
I'll get it. And I'll get it under your recommendation.
It's really good. Really good.
I'm gonna get it. Matter of fact, I'll watch it tonight. I'll do one better. I got nothing to do tonight. I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah,
that's a good recommendation.
Watch it and then text me to let me know what you think.
And then I'll get back to you on this. Is it on Netflix by any chance? Is it on Netflix?
I'm not sure. Where I saw it was on Cinemax, but that was a while ago.
I'm old school too, buddy. If you know what I'll do, I'll just order it on DVD and have it sent to me.
Oh, it's totally worth owning. It's a great gritty, very gritty.
Awesome.
Like cop thief movie.
Buddy, I can't wait. I love the both of them.
Yeah,
that's
great movie.
Another interview, but I've got Vince is an old buddy of mine too. I was out here when he first came out here. He was doing a movie called Rudy, and he had nowhere to stay. So a mutual friend of mine, a guy named Patrick Van Horn, who I'm old friends with, he was the guy from Swingers before they made it.
Right.
Vince had no place to stay, so I put him up for weeks at my place while he was making Rudy, and then they went off and made Swingers about 2 years later with him and Favreau. And we all used a place, the Formosa Cafe. And that Swingers was no joke. That was our lives. We were in the 90s. We all wore suits. And we weren't into grunge, my crowd. That includes Vince and everybody else. We all wore. We listened to Sinatra, and we went out and picked up girls. That's what we did.
That's awesome.
Those were the days, man. Yeah. So that the Swingers was very, very accurate, and I'm a huge fan of it. So I'm so glad you brought that movie up. I'm definitely going to watch that.
I guarantee you will love it on so many different levels, especially with some of the past conversations we've had, and I'll leave it at that.
Right. Awesome, buddy. Well, goddamn, buddy, you got some editing to do. Make this interview entertaining. We were blabbing on like two friggin' yeses.
I'll send it off to my team, and I'll try and get this out there.
I don't know if I'm still being recorded, but I'm going to speak off the record. I just have a technical question for you. So you're going to edit? Can I hear it when it's all edited, put together nicely?
Yeah. I can. Do you want me to send you a link to it before I post it?
Yeah, when you're all done. Whether if you're going to edit it out, I don't care. Look, I don't care what you do with it, but I do want to hear it eventually. Yeah,
of course. This is all going to be edited down tremendously.
Of course.
I'll probably cut the whole, first 20 minutes, and then the
whatever
end section
do,
here.
When you're done, send me a link.
Okay, definitely.
I enjoyed myself, buddy.
Awesome,
You surprised
awesome.
me. I enjoyed this. I have, buddy. It's like an hour. We're like an hour 45. We're still on the fucking phone. This
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
What's wrong with you?
uh,
2 weeks ago, buddy, I was like, 1 hour? Are you sure?
See,
We've been on the phone for close to 2 fucking hours talking about nothing.
it
I
flies
kept
by,
apologizing.
really flies by.
All right, well, listen, my man. I'm going to go get some lunch now. Call me whenever you want. You got my number. We'll do another interview down the pike, and I'll tell you what I'll do, but I could probably get Louis Mandler to do an interview with you, too, when he gets back next month.
That would be
Because I think
awesome.
if I could probably set that up, all right? I'm going to recommend he talk to you.
That would be fantastic. That would be so
Yeah,
cool.
Manny. Oh, all right. I'll make that happen, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Peter. That is
I'll make
awesome.
that happen. You're a good man.
Thank you, thank you. That is awesome. I really
All right,
appreciate
brother?
it. Fantastic.
Well, you got my info. Call me anytime. And, yeah, once again, when you have that link, send it to me. I got to hear this fucking thing. Okay?
Definitely, definitely.
Buddy, I kind of liked that it was on the phone a little bit or more than the video. And something more of a mystery to it.
Yeah, like a real radio show. Minus
Exactly.
the F bombs.
minus the F-bombs that we dropped like 100 times. All right.
Right.
Buddy, I'll talk to you soon enough. Yeah, okay, brother?
You too. You too. Take care.
Okay, Sam. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.